Adelaide racetrack. As you can see, blue skies as clear as you can get them over here, and the big 5-litre V8s are out on the circuit now, and this is going to be a ripper, no doubt about it. Over the years, we've seen some classic duels, 16 races in total. Jimmy Richards has won 5 of them, Dickie Johnson 2, along with Longhurst, Perkins and Bowe. They've all won 2. Grice, Seton and Gardner won 1 apiece. Jimmy Richards 4 in a row from 91-92. Johnny Bowe going for 3 in a row if he can win this one. Lap record of a 1:38.65, John Bowe in 94. And he broke that at 1:36.06 in 95. So about 1.5 seconds quicker than his time in 1994. Now, I've got 2 special young people with me here, let me tell you. Craig Lowndes, one of the brightest up-and-coming stars in Australian motorsport. And Craig, we certainly hope that one day you're sitting in a track like this in a Formula One.
Yeah, well, last year we ran 3 cars and I managed to run around this circuit. This year I'm sitting with you, beside you, watching us. So, no, it's fantastic.
You had a love affair with concrete walls yesterday and the day before. Smacked them twice.
Unfortunately, had 2 incidents with a wall, Formula Brab, and we could have fixed it over the night, but we weren't sure what the package was going to be this morning, so we elected just to sit it out and watch the race. And no, the race was pretty sort of crashy.
So Craig Lowndes on one side. Now look at this man. I mean, you gave us so much enjoyment, Kevin Schwantz, aboard that Suzuki of yours. I've never seen a better winner than you.
Thanks a lot, Daryl. It's good to be back in Australia. It's great to be down here for the Formula One race, and looking forward to this Group 8 touring car race we got coming up.
While the car's on the warm-up lap, now you've been doing a bit of NASCAR racing over here in Australia, and you've been going pretty well. I mean, you equaled Charlie O'Brien's time the other day, I'm told.
Well, I haven't actually done any racing yet. We did some testing the other day, and this weekend down at Oran Park, we're going to have a NASCAR race on Saturday night under the lights. So I'm looking forward to it. It's my first competition in a NASCAR. It should be a lot of fun.
While you're looking at the grid in front of you there, Kevin, have you missed the bikes? I know you've done every round. You've fulfilled the commitment to help Daryl Beattie on the Suzuki, but have you missed it at all?
Well, of course, the competition, the desire to go out and want to compete is always there. And so watching races on Sunday is something that I'm still not very good at. So I'll have to try and find something to occupy that spare time and that desire to go out and race.
Yeah, racers, no doubt about that, and all the best with that. Okay, well, you're going to enjoy this. This is the Aussie V8s. They're quick, they're big, and they're pretty spectacular.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the comparison between the Group A and NASCAR. It's great to see them as a support race here for the Formula One race.
Craig, just before we go to the start line, look at that crowd here. Thursday, 74,000 people in attendance. Friday, 102,000 people. Now, today, 139,000 people, and they have sold 205,000 tickets for tomorrow. The sold-out signs are out on the door. You can't get in for love nor money. And I'm told that's a world record. How about that? Well done. Laps 15, race distance, 57 kilometres. Up go the revs. Ready to go. Watch the start. Watch for Larry Perkins. Wayne Gardner sitting on the second row. Seton, Johnny Bowe gets away. Well, Gardner. Oh, shuts the door. Johnny Bowe, but Gardner comes up on the inside. And now, will he get there? Yes, he gets into second place. So Wayne Gardner, great start. Glenn Seton out in front from the word go, and through they come.
Yeah, Gardner had a good start there. He had a good start at Bathurst, and he's obviously mastered that start, and he's come through to second. It's fantastic.
Dickie Johnson now sits in behind Larry Perkins. Johnny Bowe third place. Wayne Gardner is second. Glenn Seton up in front. Alan Jones in the second of the PJ cars there. That's the older car. Glenn Seton is driving the car that he drove at Bathurst and Sandown, and AJ not very happy. Said the car's not turning in well at all.
Yeah, it's all a bit hectic at the front. Bowe couldn't be very happy with that start that he got, and Gardner's obviously happy with coming from the second row.
Well, Johnny Bowe's normally an electric starter. He gets off the line. Seton hasn't, had the greatest starts of the year, but he's certainly got that one.
Well, yeah, and no, Bowe's looked like he's at the side there, and he's going to start coming back through the field. Gardner's pressing for his lead.
Have a look at this. Oh, Wayne Gardner gets a little tap. I'm sure he tapped Seton. Seton got very sideways. Let's have a look at the front of the car. I can't see anything there. Maybe just lost it under brakes. Johnny Bowe now gets right up underneath Wayne Gardner. And listen to the V8s here in Adelaide. How good are they here? I love them here. Wayne Gardner now, he takes the lead from Johnny Bowe. Seton's dropped back into third place.
Yeah, it's, I can see one of the Mobil cars running up there. It's pretty good to see Brock coming up through the field. Larry's obviously there, so it's not over yet.
What do you think so far?
Gardner, that was a real impressive move he made at the end of the straightaway. Gave the guy in front of him a little nudge, and you know, took that spot over. He's right out front where he wants to be, and he's looking strong.
Wayne's always been aggressive, you know that.
He has been, and you know, first part of the race has always been one of his really strong points, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him run right there at the front the rest of the day.
Well, he won here for the Holden Racing team just 2 years ago, and here he is now in the Coke team. How times can change. He was driving for another team at his first major win. Now he leads with his own team, Coca-Cola. Glenn Seton up into third. Larry Perkins just trying desperately to get onto the end of the trio there, which he's going to do, no doubt about that. So he'll close right up there, but Johnny Bowe losing a little bit to the Commodore down the straight, but under brake seems to close up.
Yeah, like these four cars are just starting to spread out now, and it's only lap 2 of 15, so it's going to be a long race.
Tyres, they'll come into play.
Yeah, very much. The Dunlops seem to, as you can see, Gardner and Bowe, the Dunlops seem to come in early.
Johnny Bowe side by side for Gardner as you look down from the chopper. Takes the lead, Johnny Bowe. Slips through under Wayne Gardner. Larry Perkins right up behind Seton. Now can Gardner fight back?
Gardner seemed to be struggling a little bit off that last corner. Bowe got a pretty good run on him coming onto the straightaway and just managed to slip past him on the brakes there at the end of the straight.
Johnny Bowe's been in unbelievable form this year. He really has been a superb package. The Ford, Bowe, everything. And he's had to struggle on tyres, but certainly won the races he wanted to win.
Oh, yeah, he's been going fabulous. The Falcons have been performing well. The Commodores have been there, and you know, look, at the moment he's just sort of trying to stretch a lead here, and looks like he's been able to, so hopefully other guys can catch him.
Everybody using all of the circuit and then some, no doubt about that. There's Neil Crompton there. He's got Dickie Johnson up behind him. AJ well back in the pack and not that happy, I tell you. I don't see AJ get upset too often, but he's not really happy with the package that he's been given for this one.
Yeah, it's just been unfortunate. You know, most teams virtually they produce two cars that are supposed to be identical. No, it's just unfortunate that AJ's back there, so he may have problems, I'm not sure.
He's never had the chance, I think, to strut his stuff here in Adelaide properly. He's always wanted to win this in front of his old Grand Prix mates. Back in 12th position as Alan Jones. But Johnny Bowe now, he gets a little bit of a breather as he comes down. Wayne Gardner's got Seton right up in behind him. Seton goes a little bit wide. So it's Ford and Holden, and then back for Holden. Seton is the Ford sandwich here. Under brakes, watch him pop out. Here he comes now. And as you see, the flames explode out of the exhaust. He'll take him. So Seton now goes up into second place. Gardner has lost twice in that same area.
He has. So probably a little bit unhappy with that. Larry's just sitting there waiting to see what's happening with these two guys. Bowe's obviously made a sprint for it. So Larry and Brock's just sitting there too. So anything can happen yet.
Wayne almost leaves the door open there by going down that straight area on the inside lane.
He seems like he's struggling a little bit getting onto the straightaway, and everybody's able to pull a slipstream on him and you know, run up and then outbrake him at the end of the straightaway. He's going to have to try and do something a little bit different. He's just going to keep losing those positions.
Plenty of laps to go, 12 laps remaining. Watch him drop the skirts and lift the legs up as they go over the ripple strips here. Larry Perkins, of course, one Bathurst, has been in pretty aggressive form around here. Who'll ever forget his drive in the rain last year when he chased Johnny Bowe? That was unbelievable. New lap record for Johnny Bowe, 1:37.87. So he's not hanging about. He did that on lap 3.
He did. He's obviously putting in some hard laps here and trying to make a break and try and break some of these other sort of spirits of these other guys. But as I said, the Dunlops come in early. Brock's sitting there nicely with the Bridgestones. Glenn's on Bridgestone, so they'll come in a little bit later on, and it's only lap 4 of 15, so it's a good race.
You're right now with Peter Perfect. Watch these cars as they come into the fastest part of the straight now. He probably will want to close right up behind here, then just pop out under brakes if he can get in touch. But I mean, even the privateers cars here have been very quick.
They have. It's been a good field. There's 20 cars started, and I think half of them have been privateers, so it's been a really good race.
Larry Perkins, that time Gardner didn't leave the door open. He shut it pretty firmly in Larry's face, but it seems just a matter of time before Larry gets past. Now Peter Brock closes right up on the tail of Larry Perkins. This is the rundown in behind the pit area. Fast sweeper down here, then hard on the brakes for the hairpin, going back on the main straight. Look at this crowd, wherever you look, they're just jam-packed. Brocky now on the brakes, watch him boot it. Now you're right up the main straight, past the pit area. All the internationals are out. They love these things. They love the V8s screaming here in the streets of Adelaide. Still with Brock. Talk us through this.
Well, we're going through the chicane here, and you're going up through the gears. You know, the engine's revved, well, they're limited at 7,500 RPM, so they're pretty well on the noise. They're hard on the brakes. The brakes on these cars, well, the cars themselves are very heavy. The brakes are fairly small down through the gears. They're probably only getting about second gear through here, just finding their way through. Yeah, see, just getting on the brakes, trying to get on the power. They've got little tyres and a lot of horsepower, so they've got to be very gentle, especially on the tyres. They tend to burn up really quick, so you've got to be nice. It's only like 5 and 15, so it's still got a long way to go. So these guys here, look, Seton's starting to charge on Bowe, so it's coming up.
And you can see Larry Perkins trying the thing, really getting sideways as he threw it onto that little straight area there. There he is, Larry, goes up on the ripple strip. Now let's have a look at the two hold and see what sort of horsepower, because right behind them, Peter Brock, Gardner. Let's see where he goes. Now he heads up on the inside lane. Not going to leave the door open this time for Larry. Peter Brock closes right up. Tony Longhurst has joined in his Falcon too. Oh, Larry with a little nudge on Wayne Gardner. Won't worry. The Wollongong Whiz, I'll tell you. He won't care about that. Brock now closes up. Longhurst is there. Oh, now we've got a train going.
Brock made the most of that move there between Gardner and Perkins, and let him get right up, close right up on those guys, and you know, he's right there in the getting ready to take over that third position.
Yeah, you really see a lot of brake lock up on these cars, and as this race wears on, the attitudes of the cars get quite dramatic.
It's interesting to see. It looks like all the cars are sliding around quite a bit. I think tires are going to play a big part in this, and as we're only on the 5th or 6th lap of 15, it's going to be a long day.
So Brock, what are you looking at when you see the car that you'd like to be driving out there?
Well, it's obviously looking very nice actually. He's just sitting there. As Bridgestone's will take a little laps to get on, and he'll make his move later in the day. I think he'll just sit there and watch what these guys will do. You know, the temperature's not quite as hot as it was at Bathurst, and obviously you can see the mist coming off from the cement, so the tyres are really going to make a big part of this.
Tony Longhurst has got the Falcon starting to crack a little bit now. Isn't it a pretty car?
It looks very nice. It's a little bit difficult to sort of, when we've first seen these cars, to make the decision between Larry and Longhurst. When the cars are approaching at speeds of 280 k's and that, it's a bit hard to tell the difference, but no, both cars look very nice. Yeah, they do, and congratulations to Castrol, because they support so many areas of racing here in Australia. They've been long-time supporters. All right, Wayne Gardner now. Larry Perkins can't do anything about Gardner at the moment. Brock has got Longhurst in his mirrors, so it's all starting to settle down. Johnny Bowe, though, out in front, and they need to really chase him a bit harder. He'll build up a gap that could be really uncatchable. There it is there. That's Seton in second place. Gardner's in third. Perkins is fourth. Brock is fifth. Longhurst is sixth. But Johnny Bowe is starting to build a gap. There he is, halfway up the straight as they're coming into the hairpin. Yeah, well, as you can see, he's starting to make a lead. He's still got a race to go tomorrow, so he's probably stretching his legs here and trying to get a big gap so he can sort of cruise to the end and have a good package for tomorrow's race. Very complete race driver, this fellow, Kevin. He loves open wheelers. He's won in sports cars. He switched to touring cars because it's his, well, I guess, the biggest chance to do well here in Australia. He's won the championship. He's one of those real complete drivers. Give him a car, doesn't matter what it is, he'll drive its wheels off. He's using all the track through that first chicane. He was up over the curb, had the whole right side of the car up in the air. And he's, he looks like he's conserving things and trying to just make a gap and make the most of it today. He's got another race again tomorrow afternoon, and it's not going to be easy. Glenn Seton using all of the track and then some, lifting the rear wheels too. They look spectacular when they do that round here. They do. The cars have got a lot of suspension trouble, so they can tend to, they can afford to use a bit of the curb, because the cars, you get a little bit unsettled, but not so much where you get out of control. So obviously they're using the curb coming onto this Bradford straight. Johnny Bowe, that's the lead he has over Glenn Seton.
Seton's closed it up a little bit. There's Wayne Gardner, Larry Perkins still in behind him. Peter Brock sits there. They're in Longhurst as well. So that gives you the position, one right back through 5th place. Doesn't look much, and that gap can be closed up pretty quickly, but they wouldn't want to let him get too much further ahead than that.
No, that's for sure. No, he's obviously trying to stretch the lead, and Glenn's trying to catch him up. You've got these 2 cars here just sort of comfortable at the time being, but they just started the 8th lap, so it's still got halfway there now.
Great shots here from the chopper. It gives you an idea of how the streets of Adelaide have been moulded into this racetrack. Look at the crowd and attendance. That's coming up the main straight through the chicane. Now they'll hook up here for a series of left and rights. It gets pretty tight through here. And you really get to appreciate the racing line and how narrow some of this area is.
It is very narrow. As you drive along, it's just like a tunnel. You get these 2 concrete walls, and it's very difficult. Oh, just one that big spin there, I think, just on the end of the frame there. I think it was Brock. It is.
Peter Brock has lost it, so 05 out of contention. And look at him as he lays the power on. Peter Brock gets away again. And that's happened a few times this year. I guess you're trying so hard and the competition's so close these days that you've only got to make the slightest mistake and you're off into the boonies.
You do, and as I was saying before, the track is very narrow. He's lucky to get away with that without touching the wall.
Here we come from the point of view of a replay. And this is from Peter Brock's car. There he goes, spinning around up over the strip, doesn't hit anything, manages to avoid everything. That wasn't too bad.
It wasn't too bad at all. He's come to a stop and got back going. He'd be probably a little bit upset with himself.
Not the sort of place you want to spin too often here.
Definitely not a place you want to press your luck. Brock was lucky to get away with that. Watching him make that mistake and spin like that, it sure makes me appreciate cars a lot more than motorcycles, because on a motorcycle that sure would have hurt.
Hope you're enjoying the action here from the streets of Adelaide. Plenty happening under the blue skies. Back shortly. Stay with us. So Larry Perkins still chasing Wayne Gardner. That gap probably hasn't changed too much. If anything, Tony Longhurst has just lost a little bit back to Larry Perkins. So it's settled down pretty well. Johnny Bowe still out in front. Glenn Seton's still running in 2nd place.
Yeah, they have settled down, and it'll be interesting to see if Larry makes a charge towards the end. He's still got only lap 9 of 15. He's got 7 laps to go, so he's still got a little distance to go. Gardner's just coming in onto the Bradman straight, so is Larry. So we'll just see if Larry will sit there or.
How demanding are these cars to drive around a circuit like this, physically, I mean?
Very physical. They're very stop-go corners here for the touring cars. Very worked machinery, very hard, and on the brakes very hard at the end of the straight there, and as Larry's just picked up a little bit on the brakes, and you're working very hard, trying to get the car in like one shape and try and get it the same way, so they're working very hard.
Kevin, Wayne Gardner, I mean, he had an exceptionally great Bathurst, a lot of exposure. His cars went very well. To set his own team up the way he has, to run 2 cars in a championship year, massive effort. And also to drive at the same time, he really always has had that wonderful determination to succeed, and this has been a tremendous effort for him.
It's always been one of Wayne's strongest points, is he's so determined and such a fighter. He goes out there and he makes, with what he's got, he does the best that he can, and to see him out there running 30, he's got that Commodore right up there where it should be, and he's drifting the thing through the corners. He's driving it like a champ.
Well, he copped a lot of flack when he first came into touring car racing because he was having a few touches and a couple of big spectacular losers, and they were giving him a pretty bad time. They called him Captain Chaos. He didn't really like that too much. In fact, Glenn Seton now starting to close on Johnny Bowe. We'll come back to that in a second. But like he always does, he rode through that, he drove through it and got on with it, and now he's going very well.
He really is. I was surprised to see him doing as well as he is. I don't guess surprised, but it's good to see him out there, good to see him adapting to the 4 wheels.
So there we go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and 6 on you. So Johnny Bowe, certainly Seton starting to make his move, closing up. Then into 3rd place, it's Gardner. In behind him, Larry Perkins. But Johnny Bowe's lead now starting to shrink a little.
It is. Seton's obviously closing the gap. The Bridgestones will probably just start to come in now, and Bowe is probably just running out of tyres. Gardner's running a little bit wide there, so now he had the same problem.
Yeah, they're starting to move around. I told you that the attitudes of the cars changed here dramatically in the second half. of these races, because this is a very hard circuit on rubber too.
It is very hard. Inside the cars we run bars so we can change the sway bars inside the car, so we can actually change the setup of the car inside it as we're driving. But no, we can only do a little bit at a time.
Wayne Gardner actually just clipped the wall then. I don't know if you noticed that, but there was a little slight clip of the wall, so he's still trying pretty hard. Maybe those tyres giving him some problems, but Larry Perkins can't get around him. Longhurst is back where he's been for most of the race in behind Larry Perkins. Just can't make the difference there. So it's still Johnny Bowe in front, Glenn Seton, Gardner, Perkins and Longhurst. They're the top runners at the moment. Unusual for the field to be so strung out with Group A's around here. It's normally a real hustle and muscle affair.
It is very much. No, Brock had a little spin in the middle there, and it's obviously spread Longhurst off from Larry. And no, Seton's had a big charge on Bowe, and they've sort of sprinted away as well. So they're having their own little battles.
Kevin, when you talk NASCAR, this is the first time that you've driven these cars. Why Australia? Was it easy to get a drive here, or was the opportunity to present itself to drive first up in Australia?
Well, it was definitely an easier opportunity because the season in the States right now is over with. So the Australian season in NASCAR is just now starting. The fields over here are a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to come over and be able to qualify for. It's a good place to come over and have an opportunity to go out and compete and get good track time, whereas in the States it might be a little bit more difficult to qualify and make an event.
So how long will you be in Australia for the season?
Yeah, I'm going to stay over until just before Christmas, and then I'll go back to the States for Christmas and New Year, and then come back to do the 2 rounds in January and February.
Fantastic stuff. Well, 4 laps to go now in the Group A, so if you really want to see some excitement, go and watch Kevin Schwantz. You've watched him on 2 wheels, watch him on 4 when he takes on the Thunderdome at Calder Park in a NASCAR. Fantastic to have him in this country, and he's a great competitor, and as I said, he's the best winner I've ever seen. I just love to see him win. And Bowie's had a little bit of a crunch time there too, so you can see the fender just crippled.
Yeah, it has. No, these guys are obviously pushing very hard, and there's really no room for allowance.
Dickie Johnson. I thought it was Bowie's car, but it wasn't. It's Dick Johnson. Now, let's have a look at the telemetry here.
Yeah, the telemetry shows you second gear, just on 6,000. On the brakes, the red light, he's off it, he's on the power. Just very nice on the power there, otherwise you get wheel spin and you won't go anywhere. 7.5 on the brakes, still in third. 130 kilometres an hour. It's fairly quick with these things through these little tight sections. Back to third. He's just giving it on the revs, use a little bit of the road. Through 7.5, gear change. 7.5, just on that rev limit. He just heard it on the brakes. 150, 145 through that corner. And then up through the gears. 7.5, fifth, and into sixth.
At 230, 248 Ks, it's not hanging about.
No, it's not. And they get to about 150 metre mark towards the corner, and they're hard on the brakes. And back through the gears, and as you can see, out there in second, and up to third, and hard on the brakes again. So yeah, they're working very hard. Just a stab in it, like to get onto the brakes on and off.
Yeah, it's so quick watching that red light come on and off. That's a really neat statistic there to be able to watch and see what kind of RPM they're turning, what gear they're in, and actually what kind of speed they're carrying through the corners. It's something that I think motorcycle Grand Prix racing could really use.
Yeah, I agree with that. So now we're back on the main straight, blasting past the pit area. Let's have a look, and it's not a real long straight, let me tell you. Look at the speeds already, 202 up there.
Oh yes, it says 130 through the chicane, and he's using both chicanes, so it's very good. And up through the gears into fourth, fifth, on the brakes, third, second. Some drivers like to go back into the whole lot, and some people like to go back through the gears.
Now this is a really important part of this circuit, though. You get this right, and it sets you up for the main straight.
It does. It's these cars now they're starting to see a bit of attitude on them. They get a bit spongy. Yeah, obviously kept nice and clean. You're going to go a lot quicker. As Dick there, it's just nice and smooth and trying to get all the horsepower to the ground.
Well, under a second now up front. There we are. Johnny Bowe still leading Glenn Seton, but he's close. It's under a second. I don't have to tell you that. You can see for yourself. Wayne Gardner still third. Larry Perkins behind him. But this is where the action is up front. Now, what about the tyre package as you know it?
Well, the Dunlop's probably just starting to go off a little bit this time. Glenn's probably sitting in a good situation here. You know, they both think they've got a race to go to tomorrow, so they don't really want to blister them or start laying rubber off them too early. But I think Glenn's in a nice position here. He's just, well...
Oh, Johnny Bowe, that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you can see the attitude of the cars. Glenn's just sitting there pressuring Bowe. Bowe's using more than what he'd like to at the moment, just trying to hold on to the first position.
2 laps to go. You can see Johnny Bowe there really winding it on.
That was quite a driving feat right there by John Bowe to keep that car going in a straight line and keep it in front. He's obviously struggling a little bit with grip there in those Dunlops as Seton's closing the gap a little bit with the Bridgestones.
Here's a replay down as you look down, and there you see it. Like that tail just hung it out, but he brought it back so quickly.
It did. It just looked like it hit just the white line, the ribble strip there on the entrance, and just sort of snuck out a little bit, probably caught him by a little bit by surprise. And as you can see, Glenn's sitting right there, really nice. Glenn's car looks a lot better than what Bowe's does at this moment.
There's been a bit said between these two camps through the year too, Kevin, so there's a bit of needle in this.
It's always good for racing to have a bit of animosity here and there. It's good to have guys that talk a little bit about each other and keep that spirit of competition out there.
I remember Glenn Seton be referred to as a speed bump at one stage.
Yeah, he did run a sticker on the back of the car. It's obviously he's trying to get past Bowe now. He's closing up on the brakes there. He's just looks really nice, the car.
About a lap and a half to go. Johnny Bowe leads here. Remember, this is up for 3 in a row if he can do this. Won the 2 heats last year, so he's got a pretty good track record here and has won 2 previous to that. So his record here around the streets of Adelaide pretty good, but he's holding Seton at bay at the moment as they come back into the area of the main straight. Now this should take him on to the last lap. So if Seton's going to do it, this is his chance now as he guns it up the start-finish line. Tucks right in behind Johnny Bowe. They'll come up through the chicane. If you were going to plan a pass, where's it going to be?
I'd say either at the end of the main straight, or if you can into this corner here. It's a nice corner you can duck in underneath, or even the corner coming onto the pit straight. It's a nice area. We've got a little bit of room to play with.
2 very talented and very clean drivers, but at Bathurst, Seton was following Johnny Bowe. Johnny Bowe, they had a touch and he went out, and that was the end of his Bathurst. So to have these 2 drivers back in a situation, the next race up is quite extraordinary.
It is. It's you can see Bowe just getting off the corners a little bit better than Seton, and for Seton to be able to make that pass at the end of the straightaway, he's really going to need to make a good run coming out of that corner and down the front chute.
Okay, so this is it now, the second part of this main straight area. Johnny Bowe really giving it the business as he keeps Seton at bay. The gap really hasn't started to diminish yet, but watch Seton under brakes. The car's very strong in that area. Here he comes now, closing up, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. Takes a wider line. Johnny Bowe, though, just shuts the door. That's all he's got to do. Stay on the racing line, and Glenn Seton's got to find a way around him, and that's not easy here. Back up in behind the pit area. The 2 big Fords scream their way down there. Everyone up and cheering Johnny Bowe. What a year he's had, what a championship year he's had, and now continued success here at Adelaide. I don't think Glenn Seton's going to get hold of him. He's going to make a last big effort as they come up to the start-finish line. It's going to be Johnny Bowe. Seton comes at him and only misses out by half a length. Wayne Gardner, look at Larry. Larry let it all hang out as he comes on for 4th place. Tony Longhurst will come into 5th and Neil Crompton in behind him. Then Dickie Johnson. And now they start to pour their way through. But a good win from Johnny Bowe, a good effort from Glenn Seton to keep him honest, and Wayne Gardner did a pretty good job to fill third.
As you can see there, last couple of laps, Bowe is just sort of driving defensively. He knew the tyres were sort of just going a little bit funny, and Seton could see that. So I think Bowe knows that in his mind for the next race tomorrow.
All right, Craig Lowndes joining us up there. He'll do the same tomorrow. Kevin Schwantz, all the best with your racing in Australia. Thanks for coming up, pal, and I'm really happy to see you happy, healthy, and well.
Thanks a lot, Daryl, and we'll see you guys all next weekend out at Oran Park for that NASCAR race under the lights Saturday night.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one. Have you raced under lights before? I never asked you.
I've never raced under lights. I've never raced a NASCAR before either, so it's should be a real learning experience for me, and I'm just looking forward to it. It's a new challenge and something that that's really going to be good.
KS, if anyone can do it, you can do it. All right, let's recap the results for you. Johnny Bowe in 1st place, Glenn Seton 2nd, Wayne Gardner 3rd, Larry Perkins, Tony Longhurst, and Neil Crompton. There they are, the 5-litre cars from the streets of Adelaide. Wow, plenty of action and more to come when we come back to Super Tours.